Have you ever wondered why so many people try naturism once and then never come back? It's rarely because they actually hate being naked. Usually it's because they made one of these three mistakes. Mistake number one, choosing the wrong location. Many beginners think a public beach with a nudist section is the best place to start. In reality, these areas can often feel exposed or draw unwanted attention from voyeurs. Instead, start at a private club or a high-end spa. These environments prioritize etiquette and safety. When you feel secure, the mental barrier of being unclothed disappears much faster. Mistake number two, focusing on yourself rather than the community. First-timers often spend the whole time worrying about how they look. They forget that in a naturist setting, nobody is actually looking at you. Naturism is about social connection and freedom from judgment. Once you realize everyone else is just reading a book or playing volleyball, the self-consciousness melts away. You start to see people, not body. Mistake number three, giving up too soon. The first 30 minutes are always the hardest. That's when the flight or fight response is highest. Most people quit during this window and never experience the relaxation that follows. If you can push past that initial awkwardness, you'll find a profound sense of peace. Don't let a rocky start keep you from discovering the true benefits of the naturist lifestyle. Try it again, but this time, do it right. Why most people quit naturism after their first experience. They arrive excited. Maybe they've spent weeks researching. They've watched videos, read blogs, imagined crystal clear beaches and a sense of freedom they've never experienced before. Then they try naturism for the first time and never do it again. Not because they hated it, not because something terrible happened, and not because they suddenly realized naturism wasn't for them. The real reasons are far more surprising. In fact, many first-timers make the exact same mistakes without even realizing it. And if you're curious about naturism, understanding these mistakes might completely change your first experience. Because here's the irony. The people who quit naturism after one experience often leave just a few minutes before they would have discovered why millions of people around the world keep coming back. And today, we're talking about the reasons nobody warned you about. If you're curious about naturism beyond the stereotypes and want honest guides without the usual cliches, subscribe and join our growing community. Most people who watch these videos never subscribe and miss the stories that completely change how they see naturism. 1. They expect to feel comfortable immediately. The biggest mistake? Expecting confidence from the very first minute. Most people assume that experienced naturists simply walk onto a beach completely relaxed without a second thought. But that's rarely how it starts. For first-timers, the experience can feel overwhelming. Where do you look? Where do you put your towel? What if everyone notices you're nervous? What if you're doing something wrong? The truth is, almost everyone feels awkward at first. Even many longtime naturists admit their first experience involved uncertainty and self-consciousness. The difference is simple. Some interpret that discomfort as, this is new. Others interpret it as, this isn't for me. Those two interpretations lead to completely different outcomes. 2. They care too much about other people's opinions. Most first-timers arrive believing everyone will be watching them, judging them, comparing bodies, noticing every imperfection. Then something unexpected happens. Nobody seems to care. People read books, families play games, couples talk. Friends enjoy the sun. Life continues exactly as it would on any other beach, except without swimsuits. Yet many newcomers remain trapped inside their own thoughts. Instead of experiencing the moment, they constantly ask themselves, do I look okay? Am I too old? Too young? Too fit? Not fit enough? Ironically, they're often judging themselves far more harshly than anyone else ever would. 3. They choose the wrong place for their first experience. Not every naturist environment is beginner-friendly. And this is something people rarely talk about. A crowded beach during peak season can feel intimidating. An isolated location without information can create anxiety. Even cultural differences matter. Some beaches are social, others are very private. Some spas have clear etiquette. Others expect visitors to already understand the unwritten rules. Choosing the wrong setting can transform a potentially wonderful experience into an uncomfortable memory. That's why many experienced naturists recommend starting somewhere with a welcoming atmosphere, clear guidelines, and a relaxed environment. Sometimes a spa is actually easier than a beach, and sometimes the opposite is true. It depends entirely on your personality. I'm curious about your opinion. What do you think stops most people from trying naturism again? Fear of being judged? Body insecurity? Social conditioning? Or simply having the wrong expectations? Let us know in the comments. I'd genuinely love to hear your perspective. Many people unknowingly approach their first experience with a pass or fail mindset. They think, if I don't immediately love this, then naturism isn't for me. Imagine applying that logic to skiing, scuba diving, traveling abroad, learning a language. Most meaningful experiences require adjustment. Naturism is no different. Sometimes the first visit feels strange. The second feels easier. By the third, many people finally understand what everyone was talking about. The freedom, the simplicity, the absence of constant comparison, the surprising normality of it all. Those who quit immediately often never give themselves enough time to discover that shift. 5. They were looking for something naturism was never meant to provide. Perhaps the biggest misunderstanding of all. Some people expect a life-changing revelation. Others expect excitement. Others arrive carrying stereotypes shaped by movies, headlines, or internet myths. But naturism isn't magic. It's not about perfection. It's not about exhibitionism. For many people, it's simply about existing comfortably in their own skin, without status symbols, without fashion, without constant performance. The people who stay aren't necessarily the bravest. They're often just the ones who stopped searching for a dramatic transformation and started appreciating something much simpler: authenticity. If these videos help you understand naturism beyond the cliches, take a second to subscribe. We're getting closer to building a community of 1,000 people who are curious, respectful, and genuinely interested in discovering what naturism is really about. And your support makes a bigger difference than you might think. Ask experienced naturists what kept them coming back. Many won't mention nudity at all. They'll talk about peace, acceptance, freedom from appearances, the feeling of being present, the realization that bodies aren't problems waiting to be fixed. They're simply human. And perhaps that's the greatest surprise. The people who continue often discover that naturism changes very little about who they are, but it changes how harshly they judge themselves. They stop trying to meet impossible standards. They relax, they breathe, and eventually what once felt unusual becomes completely ordinary. Most people who quit naturism after their first experience don't leave because they failed. They leave because they misunderstood what they were experiencing. Discomfort wasn't a warning sign. It was often just the beginning of something unfamiliar. The people who stay aren't different species with extraordinary confidence. They simply allow themselves enough time to move beyond the awkward first chapter and discover what exists on the other side of it. Not perfection, not transformation, just a quiet realization that being comfortable in your own skin was never as impossible as it seemed.